just
Shout
like,
out to the Screenland Armor. If you're ever in Kansas City, go see a movie there. It's the best Kansas City theater by a mile. Support local
support
cinema.
your local cinema, guys. Local cinemas are fucking bleeding.
Yeah, if you want to, I said that there was not shit of a reason not to go rent a movie off of Amazon. There really isn't. But if you want to support cinema and if you want to support artists, go filmmaker artists, go see the movie in cinema. That's the only way that they're ever going to make their money back. Like
local cinema, yeah.
Yeah, local cinema. Don't go to the AMC theaters or the Alamo Draft House even. Like, fuck both of those places.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, your local art house, cinema is definitely needs to be supported. And we're damn close to living in a post-cinema society.
I definitely think, and this is something that we've wanted to have a conversation about on the podcast in the past, so I think it's no better time than now. I think that cinema is going to, or almost like cinema as in like going to the actual movie theater. It's going to become a novelty. It's going to be like a free theater type of a thing, Yeah,
100%. It's going to become like the drive-in has been for our entire life.
I hope it doesn't ever get that bad because it's a bitch to find a good drive-in theater. But
I think it'll be slightly easier to find. But I think as far as the retro experience, I think people
it'll be like buying vinyl
when they go to a movie. Yeah, it's going to be kind of like a kind of niche retro thing, like vinyl or like going to the drive-in, something that people do for the novelty of it.
Part of me is fine with that though, because I fucking hate going to crowded movie theaters where people don't shut the fuck up.
And when it comes to certain movies, I'd honestly rather stream them, like especially long movies. I hate having to like hold in my piss and stuff. I'd rather just watch in the comfort. I loved watching like The Irishman, for example, in the comfort of my home instead of in the theater. I know you saw it in theater. I was going to and I missed it, but like movies like that, I don't mind being able.
I don't even want to get into The Irishman because I just straight up didn't fucking like it. But I
wasn't a huge fan of it either. I had to pretend to like. I know a lot of people love that movie, but then there are movies like Halloween, like Carpenter's original Halloween, where it's like if that movie hadn't been played in theaters, it probably wouldn't have become the hit it was because so much of that movie was the experience of seeing it in the theaters. At least, obviously, I wasn't alive in 1978, but from what I've heard from people's recounts, going to see that movie in the theater was a crazy experience. A packed cinema, and everyone screaming and jumping when the jump scares would occur. This was one of the proto slasher movies. This was, Texas Chainsaw and Psycho technically came before it, and Black Christmas, but this was like one of the very first real slashers, and it was genuinely shocking to people and crazy. That point of view shot at the beginning where Michael in the mask, that was never before done. Like it was truly a mind-blowing experience for people in the theater, and that's the kind of thing. Same with Jaws, where if we do lose the cinema experience, it is going to be tragic. Because
do you remember your first movie experience at the cinema?
I think it was like the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. To be honest.
Mine was really impactful for me. So mine was when I believe I was 5 years old. And I saw The Return of the King from Lord of the Rings. And I remember it fucking blew me away, man. It completely, like, I watched the first two movies with my mom and my dad right before it came out. And then we went to the theaters to go watch it like a week later. And it just completely blew me away. I remember seeing the dragons in the huge screen. And that experience is one that I don't want, young people who are, to miss out on, because having the big screen and when you're so small and you're looking up in the whole thing, and that's one thing that we will miss in our theatrical experiences as film does become more of a novelty, because you're not going to have those ginormous megaplex screens like the Adobe sound, the 4K projection from all of that kind of thing. I think that'll start to become a lot less affordable for it already is unaffordable for local cinema, and once that becomes kind of the only cinema, once Amazon takes over and, like, God forbid Amazon buys AMC, it's just like a downhill from there.
Oh yeah, the increasing consolidations of studios is not good, especially since recently I think the Supreme Court has struck down a 1947 ruling that basically barred movie studios from opening movie theaters. So now essentially Disney and Amazon, but especially Disney is just scary because Disney can open their own theaters and then say, local art house cinemas, they can no longer play Star Wars or Marvel movies, the ones that really make a lot of money, which will bankrupt a lot of the more independently run theaters, and then giving Disney utter supremacy over the market of not just streaming and not just content, but also exhibition, the cinema experience itself. And that's a place I do not want to get. Obviously Disney has already wreaked havoc on the cinema industry, in my opinion, and totally, destroying, watering down what we think of as blockbuster movies. But yeah, that could just be a whole nother thing that not enough people are talking about, which probably because no one gives as much of a shit about movies as me and you do, but there are bigger things to worry about, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously right now in the midst of all of these things, like, us and Christopher Nolan are the ones that are really up in arms about the fucking...
We're up at night.
Yeah, speaking of Christopher Nolan, nobody waste their money on Tenet, please. We are both stands for some Chris Nolan, bro. And Ed's like not worth the time. Rewatch The Prestige. It's a way better experience.
I wrote a letterbox review actually for Tenet the other day, a really short one that I just said it's like Inception's dumber brother that thinks it's smarter.
Yeah.